You know what I'm saying? Like that's how that.
Oh, we're starting. 1, 2, 3, go. All right. Well, welcome back, guys. This is now the first official episode of What's the Word.
Yeah.
We're happy to be back with you guys. So now we have a very special guest with us. All right.
Yes, sir.
A very close friend of ours, dear and near to our hearts, the drummer, the one of our youth leaders. His name is the man, the myth, the legend, Leonardo Weston. Welcome, bro. Welcome.
What's up, guys? Thank you for having me, bro. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So, me personally, I think we've been knowing you a little bit over a year now.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit over a year. Right now, you're currently teaching me drums once again. So I'm going back to my old roots as a kid. But Leo has been a really great blessing to my life, and I know to a lot of other young people within our church as well. But tell us a little bit about yourself, bro. How's your day going? You know,
Yeah, bro.
Who are you?
Who are you?
Sounds good.
What are you doing in Casa Oración, bro?
Well, my name's Leonardo. Leo, you guys call me Leo. I started with Casa Oración. I actually started with, I don't know if you guys knew, but I started with the launch team. That was back in 2014, and I was 12 at the time. And then, started growing, started being a part of the worship ministry and the worship team. I started with drums. I got the opportunity to lead, So now I think I'm taking more of a like now I'm one of the worship leaders of the worship team. I think it's 5 of us, no? 5 in total.
I have no idea.
Something like that. But now, I have the opportunity of being one of the worship leaders and helping out with young adults and youth, and so this church has been a blessing, and I love contributing and doing my part. And so right now, nothing crazy. I'm in college, getting my elementary education degree. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's the plan right now, and now I guess kind of well known if I'm on a podcast. You know what I'm saying? I guess it's been working, bro.
We got like 2 followers.
We'll get there.
It's been working, bro.
But how you doing, bro?
Me? I'm doing good, bro. I had a good day.
Did you work?
I did not work. I did not work today.
Must be nice.
Yeah, it was my first official day off since I got back from team.
Oh, do you always have Wednesdays off, or
no? I asked for Wednesday off, but it wasn't like. Yeah, I just asked for this day off. I wanted to come. We got overflow. Overflow is something that we do at church. With the youth, it's more of like a prayer and worship meeting, and while I'm gonna be here later, and I wanted to like try to check something out, so I was like, okay, take advantage and rest a little bit more, which I didn't. I woke up early, and I was productive though, so that was good.
That's good, bro. I'm glad.
So for those of you wondering, maybe you don't know this church yet, that's why I'll repeat myself once again. All right, we're 929 West Hart Road here in Round Lake. So if you guys ever want to come by and visit us, we have not only our Sunday service, but we have Overflow, which is our worship/youth night service. It's just
and young adults. Yeah. Well, specifically young adults. I think it's 16 up now.
16 up now?
I think it's 16 up.
16 up now. All right. So if you're in, what is that? Sophomore, junior. Sophomore, junior year in high school, come by. All right. It's a great.
Or even if you're like younger, bro, we have a couple like 13, 14-year-olds. Yes, sir. And you're ready to come and be in a time of worship and prayer and be in a time to reflect with God. Yeah. And you're like 13, 14, like we're not going to stop you because of your age. You know what I'm saying? So please come and join us and be a part of this community. Please.
But now I'm going to jump to the dynamic that we originally planted in the first episode. So as we said, we were going to have a word that we were going to talk about. And that word of today is faith. All right. So we're going to be talking about, I guess, our personal experience with faith, But I'm going to start off with Leo because Leo's our guest today. Okay. Leo should have the first place. He should have all the attention.
Yeah.
But as a kid, bro, did you grow up in a Christian household? How was your relationship with God? How has that been transforming you as you've been maturing? But tell us a little bit about your faith.
Absolutely, bro. Well, I grew up in a Christian family. I don't think that was coincidental. I honestly think that was on purpose.
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of people who don't grow up in a Christian family and still find God. But that takes a lot of strength, and that takes a lot of commitment and faith. And I think me growing up in a Christian family would definitely like a head start, bro. To be honest, you grow up in this atmosphere of God and Christ in your home, so it becomes at first as a kid it becomes a routine. You grow up. Wednesdays you have if you're a youth, Wednesday you have youth, and then Sundays you go to Sunday school, right? It becomes a routine, and then when you get old enough, that's when it gets dangerous because a lot of kids who were born in the church, they leave. If you're 14, 15, and you have that freedom now, they leave. So I think there was this point in my life where I grew up in this Christian family, and we came and did this launch team when I was, or we launched this Casa de Oración when I was 10, and my parents were invited to go, so I went, obviously, and then I think like anybody, you reach that stage of your life. I was like 17 of like rebellion or that stage of your life where you're like,
Sort of in and out, you would say, like one
yeah,
step in and one step out.
yeah, like the world looks real good. You know what I'm
Yeah, no,
saying?
yeah,
The
absolutely.
world looks real good, and so I would say I think it was. That's what I'm telling you, bro. Like I think being in a Christian home would not a coincidence because if that phase of my life at like 17, 20, I was talking about with you, Brian, bro. Like
Yeah.
how in I was like 17. It was just a really dark time. Not to get at nothing specific, but it was just a very dark time for me. And I think that if I wouldn't have known of God already, or wouldn't have been like someone who had been in His presence before, I think that the world would have won. You know what I mean? But having the opportunity and the pleasure to have been already having encounters with God as a young kid, I think that's what overcame that moment of my life. And fortunately, God spoke through it, and now I would say I have a little bit more of a prominent role here, and I really had to work hard though, in my faith and my personal life. So yeah,
Was
bro.
there like a specific encounter, like that, for example, like let's say you had a rebellious moment, right?
Mm.
And then like I don't know if you have this before, but I definitely have. There's especially for me, it's always like a worship night. And I'll like I guess in my case, like I always remember that when I was living in Mexico, so there was we had this youth camp, and I was a leader, and I remember I prayed over he was the same he was the same age as me, which currently right now if I'm not he's almost graduating university. So and I remember after I prayed for him, I just started breaking down, and I went towards the back because I was like, I didn't want to go out like anybody to see me. I remember my dad hugged me and he prayed for me, and I remember um, Carlos and Checho, who they're part of the worship team in the church that I used to go to in Mexico. They also prayed over me, but it was such a moment that like it marked me that I'm like, yo, for example, if I was like doing something that I wasn't supposed to be doing or seeing something I wasn't supposed to be watching, I'd instantly bring back to that moment. I'm like, hey, bro, you've had that encounter, you've had that
Mm-hmm.
something different. So I guess like, have you ever had that encounter, for example? Like when Moses he saw the burning bush, right? That's where it changed,
Yeah.
Like he saw it and he was like, "Oh my God, this is God. This is what I'm encountering." And it's just like boom, it just changes it. Did you ever have like an encounter like that?
I think so, bro. I think we took this trip to Upper Room. You guys came with, and back in March, no, back in May. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So we went to Upper Room. If you don't know what Upper Room is, it's an amazing congregation and a Christian community in Dallas. Yeah, but we went to this church in Dallas, and they had these prayer nights, right? These prayer sets. So all day you just go and there's worship, and you just go and meditate or pray or whatever you like to do. And we were there, and I was like, okay. I was like, my mentality going into it of going to Upper Room was low key. I was like, because there's Joel Figueroa, Abby Gamboa.
They're really known for their worship.
Yeah,
They have
yeah.
really great
They
worship.
really are. They're anointed, bro.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, I want to go. I want to see these guys like
Yeah.
sing. I want to see them. it would be such an honor, like to get to see him and talk to him. All right, whatever.
Yeah.
So we get there. Long story short, the whole weekend, you know, bro, ain't nobody sing that we knew, bro.
Well, where
Well,
was Alyssa
one girl,
Smith.
Alyssa Smith,
There was
Alyssa Smith, which was really cool.
Which apparently, I guess, after we came back from the trip, Brian's dad said that Abby Gamboa was one of the prayers said.
Yeah, I didn't see that, bro.
And
On the
Nick,
live stream,
I don't know
right?
if you saw anything.
I didn't see anyone, but I saw Nick, and I knew I was like, all right.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, we saw
got there.
Nick. We saw, yeah, he was on
And
the.
I know you guys didn't really know. I don't know if
Not at the time. I didn't know him.
a
at the
little
time.
bit, but I knew him because he went to Argentina. He was like the first person I like knew from Upper Room directly before I knew Abby and what.
Yeah.
And dude, yeah.
But we got to meet Sebastian.
What you mean, Sebastian? My boy Sebas? I met my boy
Shout out,
Sebas.
Sebas.
Shout out my boy Sebas. Sebas, you should be taking my place one day over here, bro. Come talk to us, bro.
For real.
But what else happened?
Well, yeah. Anyway, so we were there, and like I'll get to what I wanted to say, but anyways, so we got there in the first worship set. It was this one guy who I kind of knew. His name is Aaron Tadashi.
Aaron,
Aaron Tadashi, right? Well, I knew him a little bit, so I was like, oh, it's really cool. I got to see him. And after his set ended, it was this other guy, and I was like, dang, I don't even know who this is, but whatever. I'm here. I'm here to worship him. And bro, as soon as that worship set just started, I was like in this moment of like just pure like surrender, you know, where it wasn't about the person leading worship, it wasn't about the music that was being played. It was just like God was like, "You're here for me," you know what I'm saying? And I've said it before, and I think, no, I know, I believe that we went to that trip and we didn't see any of the household names on purpose, because it was God saying, I'm the one who's going to move you. Yes, my servants who are anointed in this gift I can speak through them, yes, but at the end of the day, it's me who's going to move you, you know? And so I think that moment or that weekend was proof that God was like I'm calling you. I'm not calling you to come and see people who I've blessed already. I'm calling you because I want you to get closer. And I think that was that whole week was like dang, bro, like you really longs for us. You know what I mean? I would say that it's probably one of those moments, bro.
Oh my God.
You know?
Yeah.
What about you, bro? I know you were born in a Christian household. So was I.
Yes, I was born in a
But
Christian household.
I don't know if you've told the story to the youth group before, but not to our audience from the
Not to
podcast.
our audience.
But how was your walking faith going? How was your childhood growing up in a Christian household? Was there also a rebellious moment? You know, what was your own experience, dude?
Okay. All right. So faith. Like Lalo mentioned. I grew up in a Christian household with both of my parents. My mom was originally Catholic before I was born. During my pregnancy, she converts, so I was born into a Christian household. What can I say? I'm saying a lot.
Yeah.
So I grew up in a Christian household, but there were stages in my life where I would just go to like I've told people. I know I've mentioned it, and I know you guys have heard it from me that I knew how it was like to be a Christian. Like I know what I have to do. Like I know what I have to say. I know how to. Act.
Like for example, if some situation pops up, like, oh, I know what to respond.
It's almost it's almost like a part, bro, like a role.
It becomes right.
It's like if someone asks me like, oh, how are you doing with your daily devotion? I'm like, oh, great. I'm reading about I don't know Daniel, and it comes out naturally. Like I'm not reading anything. It's like it just came out natural. I was born into it, but it got to a point where I remember when I was around like 14, I didn't want to go to church. Low key, that wasn't really. It was because of rebellious. It was rebellious. I just wanted to play soccer, and then I get sick, and I stopped playing soccer, and that's when I got closer to church and everything. And I was still doing things that I wanted, things like that. But I remember when I was like 17, that's when I was like, okay, I gotta decide what I actually want. And I was like, I wanna put an effort into yoga. I remember I started putting an effort, and things started showing up. I don't know, things just started popping up, like if I was being searched by God. Like I was being like, okay, like God's like, all right, if you're gonna trust me, I'm gonna commit. Like I'm committed to you. Like, and if you commit to me, dude, this is gonna work.
Mm.
You know, and that's how it kind of slowly went into a process. Obviously, we had rebellious points. I did, of course. I didn't want to obey, or I would disobey my parents, or didn't want to go to church. For me, it was also a time of where like my faith was tested with regards to um, being hurt by the same community. That was also, I guess, a part of it. But at the end of the day, I'm here in casa. I've met amazing people. I feel really good. God never let me go, so I'm still here, and I'm super grateful to be here. That's kind of the long story short.
Yeah,
But
bro.
yeah, but definitely, dude, I'm so glad to be here. And dude, that's the only thing that's kept me up. I've had some really rocky moments, and I know that without faith, dude, I would have hit rock bottom. And I hit rock bottom.
Do you still feel like today, like there's still some things you gotta fight with?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we're gonna stop fighting until sin is completely erased. From our lives and from everyone's lives. And I believe the person that is done fighting isn't because they won; it's because they lost. So if you're not fighting anymore, it's because you're not.
Hey, that's a phrase right there.
Oh
That's a
yeah,
bar.
yeah,
That
yeah,
is a
yeah,
bar.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, because even the Bible says God gives us our daily bread.
Yeah.
So I think we need
it daily.
Yeah, we need Him every day.
Mhm.
Definitely.
What's
My story?
your story?
So I mean, well, same case as my case. I was also born in a Christian household, and well, we grew up in the churches where you had to take suit and tie every Sunday, bro. We were in those
Yeah, that's
churches for a
true.
while, and oh my God, for a minute, it did get kind of annoying. I won't lie. Like I hated it because as a kid, you want to be running around, you want to be playing tag, and obviously with that type of clothes, you're not going to be, the most comfortable. But I think the same way as my boy Leo and Brian, I also hit that rebellious stage, and I think, long story short, I think I've had encounters, and when I'm passing through, whether it's through rocky moments that I put myself through, or that simply life throws at me, I just get brought back to those moments, whether it was a worship night, whether it was a word that somebody gave to me, where I broke down in tears. And I just get brought back to that moment, and I'm thinking, I'm like, bro, but God is like, has spoken to you before.
Yeah.
God has touched you before. You know what the presence feels like. You know what it is to be spoken to. You know what it is to hear His voice. Why are you looking for Him somewhere that you shouldn't be? You're trying to fulfill these necessities or these satisfactions in somewhere you shouldn't. And I always get brought back to that moment. And I think as of recently, I definitely, for example, now that my brother came into town. He came here for 2 months to work, and he's leaving tomorrow. But seeing him worship alongside with you guys, how you guys got along with him, it helped me a lot to restore, I guess, the faith that I guess I was somewhat losing. You know what I mean? But I always get brought back to that moment, like, and I remember my dad always told me, you have such a sensitive heart for God, because as a dude, I think I really do cry a lot, and I know that's a stigma.
Okay.
But I remember as of recently, it was like I was holding back a lot of emotion. I was holding back a lot of hurt. And I remember we were literally praying before the service started. I remember I literally looked the other way and I started breaking down, and I was like, "You can cry with me, all right? Just it's okay. It's good to release that pain." So but I mean that's been our walk in faith. That's been our walk in faith, and it's been definitely difficult at times, but we're still here standing. We're still here fighting, individually and as a family, as a community. But we're gonna have to drop it right here, guys. Why? Because the second part, how are we gonna tell those people, for example, and I'm gonna jump back to what you said. What do we tell those people who have been hurt, who are hurting right now, and that they're losing their faith?
Like religious trauma wise?
Religious trauma wise, whether it's hurt with the church, whether it's hurt with a family member, whether it's hurt with God.
Okay.
what do you tell those people? What do you tell those young, those Gen Zers? You know, like, but I was praying for this, but God didn't respond. Right? Like, I went through this, but where was God in this moment?
Hmm.
So we're gonna leave it right there. All right, we're gonna leave you guys on a little bit of.
I think we'll see it in the next episode.
Hey. Yep. We'll leave it
Bet.
as a cliffhanger. But we're happy that you guys were with us. God bless you guys. And remember, we're 929 West Hart Road. Come visit us. Casa Oracion. We love you guys, and we hope to see you guys soon. All right. God bless.
All right. Sounds cool. Sounds good.